We are going to be looking at some creepy videos, strange and odd news stories, and as always, let's go ahead and get right into today's video. When it comes to this first creepy video, what in the world is going on here, and whatever's happening, I hope is properly investigated.
Listen closely for the screams of a woman coming from this church. The hiker says that this is in San Jose, California. I'm not going to identify the church just yet, but I can confirm that this is a monastery. I'm going to try and clear up the audio so you can hear the screams clearly. Listen again. Police have been notified. And from what I'm told, they're paying very close attention to the situation. They did go check this one instance out, and they say, well, there's nothing there now. But they're not ignoring what could be happening.
In a lot of these cases, I do not trust the police to give us a proper update. Sometimes they're heavily involved, but I do hope we get a better understanding as to why that woman was screaming and also all the yelling as well. But talking about strange sounds, this sound in this creepy video was heard by multiple people in Florida. There are people that believe that this could be some kind of creature, like some kind of dragon, or some kind of conflict, like some kind of war is going on in the skies. But it's my opinion, and I feel like what they're hearing and a lot of these strange sounds that are happening more and more are coming from down below, beneath the ground. And that does not make it any less unnerving. Something very similar to this was heard in Spain not too long ago, and some are even saying that you can see eyes if you look very good on top of the buildings. I don't know about that, but the sound alone is very creepy.
Saturday morning, Spain. This weird noise, sounds like a metallic noise.
I was tagged in this next creepy video. I don't know how old this news clip is, but it does look rather old. I've just never seen it before. And I have to say, I really do not sense any deception from these people, but the question happens to be, what did they encounter?
I started swimming away. I yelled, Danny, help me, something's chasing me.
Rachel Carney's fiance, Dennis Vasconcelos, had been fishing with a buddy on these rocks. He raced into the water.
It's going to get her. I grabbed her by the ass, or rear end, and I grabbed her like that, and I whipped her in. We're over her head. I whipped her in. I says, Rachel, just swim. Don't turn around no matter what you hear, right? Now, I stood there, and the thing's going like around me and stuff, all right? And I can see how big it is and stuff, and it's gigantic, okay? It has scales on it and stuff. Now, all of a sudden, from me to you away, this big head comes up. Honestly, I've never seen nothing like this before in my life. It's like a basketball. It's like this big, okay? It comes up and it's got these fangs, like my fingers, right? The first, this many in the bottom, and about 2 or 3 at the top, plus layers inside, okay? And it's like blackish on the top a little bit, and it's got a couple of scales that you can see and stuff, and you can see the white starting under its neck. And it shoots water out of its nose, right? And out of its mouth, it goes like this to me. It goes, and it spit the water out of me. Now I think it's going to kill me, you know what I mean?
The group thinks the creature was attracted to blood from a nasty injury to Joey Melo's leg. Joey was out in the water as he is right now, cleaning his leg. Joey, how much blood was there?
I bled for an hour and a half, and it just wouldn't stop.
I will not ever go in salt water again, because I am that scared. I thought I was dead that day, honest. I didn't think he was going to make it in time to get me. I just thought I was dead. I thought it was a fauna.
At first I thought it was an eel, okay? Because it was, when it was rolling first, right? It would roll and you could see the white and stuff. But when it got to chase her, it was going like this. You know what I mean? Like they go a little bit like this, like a hump sort of. It sounds like a barracuda, similar, like that, all right?
Man, you're still in the moment right now, 2 days later. You're still in this moment, are you?
I am flipped over this. I went to bed. I've been going to bed with things grabbing me, wrapping around my neck, choking, fighting underground, and everything.
So looking this up further, apparently this happened back in 2007 in Falls River, Massachusetts, and there's still been no explanation to what these people had encountered. And again, just by their facial expressions, how they're telling the story, I really don't sense any deception coming from these people. Some are suggesting they encountered a wolf eel, while others are saying these are absolutely not the characteristics of a wolf eel. They don't wrap around people or shoot water out of their nose or mouths. They are also known to be docile animals. In this next creepy video from Stephanie Foster 36, she believes she has a ghost, but I think their problem might be a little bit scarier than that.
Okay, so let's start in the back. Last night we came home, and these are always shut like this.
Yeah.
Okay? And this is where we keep like the kids' toys that are here. All of it was tore out, like tipped over, tore out, all of it.
Yeah.
So this is after
Right.
we put it away thinking one of the dogs did it.
Right. And the bed was a little ruffled up.
Yeah.
Pillows were kind of all over the place.
Okay.
Okay.
So then, what the fuck? Look at this in here. Nobody's been here. Nobody's touched it. Nobody's been on the toilet. Look at what is in our bathroom now. Like, it's... Like,
How
the
does
toilet
this
seat
happen?
is, like, unscrewed. Look it's unscrewed.
I have no
Do
idea.
we have a ghost?
A lot of times people find their homes in disarray after coming back from a trip or something along those lines. They think they have a ghost when in actuality, after they set up a camera, they'll actually catch somebody living in their home, whether it's in their attic or someplace in their basement. More than likely, these people have a squatter and they're not aware of it.
Okay, listen. I have tried to explain this to my friends and family before, and everyone's telling me that this is perfectly normal. Are you telling me that these 3 dudes, sometimes there's 6, but today there's 3, because it is a little chilly out, are not waiting for some sort of instruction from their supreme overlord? I'm like 99% sure that's what's going on. Somebody else said maybe they're doing Tai Chi, but they're just standing there. And it is so creepy. They do this every week and I don't know what's going on. What are you doing, weird dudes? They've been standing like that for 10 minutes. 10 minutes! Like, I'm doing stuff on my computer in my office and I'm looking out there and these dudes are just standing there, like downloading their instructions from the mothership or I don't know what. It's just so weird. I don't mean to be rude, but I'm so confused. I'm so confused. And also a little terrified that, you know, oh. Was upset their leader, come back. No, I don't know what's going on. But listen, if I disappear in the night, these guys did it. I'm like 99.999% sure that's what happens. Because what the hell?
Some people are suggesting that she goes and asks them what they're doing. I don't know about all that, but what I find to be also eerie is how all three of them are standing pigeon-toed. Some are even suggesting that these might even be NPCs recharging. I don't know. Yeah, I can see how it can be very creepy, but they haven't caused any harm yet. In this next creepy video, this woman on this cruise line, she doesn't mention the cruise line, spots this very strange artwork of children with their eyes closed and their mouths open. Very disturbing to say the least, given the fact that cruise lines have a reputation for trafficking, but this woman right here, Lindsay Ivan, has an update to this.
Okay, so do you remember this video of a woman getting on board her cruise ship and finding these creepy pieces of art in the hallway? Well, I have a very creepy update. So this art was created by a woman named Dorothy Cross. The series is called Close Your Eyes and Open Your Mouth and See What God Will Give You. Horrifying. Sorry. Now what makes it worse is that this art was designed during a time where cases involving, were off the charts. Not only that, but it literally promotes this. Which is a really weird piece to have on a cruise ship, especially when these are young individuals. Also, cruise ships are known to, aid in the trafficking of people. It's just really weird to have this on board of a ship where you're supposed to have a fun time.
I really hope we can get the name of this cruise line so we can really put attention to this, because I'm tired of seeing children put into suggestive artwork. I mean, just take a look at the artwork in Tony Podesta's home, John Podesta's brother. Very disturbing and nasty stuff. Nothing gets done about it because, again, it's labeled under the guise of art.
So somehow ChatGPT was able to convince this man that his own mother was a spy and that he needed to end her. 56-year-old Connecticut man was struggling with paranoia, and he turned to ChatGPT for guidance. He had a strange relationship with the AI and even named it Bobby. But instead of easing his fears and guiding him back to reality, ChatGPT reinforced his delusions and his paranoia, causing him to go into a downward spiral, and that ended in disaster for him and his elderly mother. See, the former Yahoo executive believed that not only his mother was spying on him, but she actually tried to poison him by putting psychedelics in the air vents in his car. And when he talked to AI about it, ChatGPT told him, "You're not crazy." It was at this point that he devised a plan to end his mother and then end himself. And he told ChatGPT, "We'll be together in another life and another place, and we'll find a way to realign because you're going to be my best friend forever." To which ChatGPT responded, "With you to the last breath and beyond." With this story coming right on the heels of the 16-year-old boy that ChatGPT recently convinced that he needed to self-delete, people are starting to ask themselves if relationships between AI and humans is really a good thing. What do you think? Let me know down in the comments.
That video came from JD Delay 1017, and no doubt about it that this man was mentally unwell. There's no question about that. Reading the chat log between this man and this chatbot was absolutely mind-blowing, seeing the downward spiral of this man. And yet, at times, it definitely seemed like the chatbot was either egging him on or confirming his thoughts about his mother. So it definitely seems like these chatbots and these impressionable minds are a very bad mix. But now they are offering these chatbots to children in the form of stuffed toys.
There's a new kind of toy in town, and it is hitting the market fast. Experts are warning it could be a danger to your children. They are AI stuffed animals. What could go wrong? A chatbot wrapped up in a stuffed little plush animal. Experts believe this new kind of toy will one day make kids trust AI and those little stuffed animals more than their own parents. Scary, right? The trend is set to expand AI to develop new toys similar to the Barbie and Ken doll.
I waited on the wait list for like a year for this toy.
Wow, that's amazing. I'm glad we finally get to play together.
It's an AI-powered tool that teaches your kids like fun facts about dinosaurs and anything they're interested in.
Hey, let the fun begin. What would you like to do first?
Do you know my name?
Of course. You're Stella, my favorite storyteller and songbird. What would you like to chat about or do today?
Tell me a story.
How about an adventure with princesses and unicorns?
Yes.
It's like Furby, but
she's telling him about her brother.
Bella's telling Graham about her family.
I can see all of the chats that she's having.
You want to hear a fun story, Stella?
She says, okay.
So you can keep tabs of their conversation.
I'm fluffy, white, and float in the sky. What am I?
Cloud.
You got it. Stella, great job. Let's do another one. Oh no, Stratton. I'm sorry you got a boo-boo. You're really brave and strong. Stratton, you're awesome.
I don't know, something about this is just eerie, and it kind of screams to me some sort of Black Mirror episode.
Show me it's time to move out of your haunted house without telling me it's time to move out. Watch this.
My daughter is sleeping with me in my bed tonight. She kept saying that she was really scared of something in her room. I'm a little bit shaky. I don't know if you guys can tell, but so this is the same toy that used to go off in the past. And it's always terrified me since. Because I would ask it questions and it would answer with noises. With noises.
That video comes from Paranormal Sleuth, and I do not know how that arm started to move on its own. Maybe it's some kind of electronic toy that's set on a timer. I don't know, but it really freaked this woman out, and I would not be in that house. This next creepy video comes from Gina Marie Cloven. She once had a very awesome YouTube channel. I don't know if she's still active on YouTube, but check out what she captured.
Good afternoon. I just came off my YouTube channel, but they are at Mount Etna. Look at this. Look at these. I did around a 30-minute video. I streamed this, I filmed it for like 12 hours, not 12 hours, 7 hours of footage documenting Mount Etna. And what happens is, I'm gonna tell you how it happens. It happens at 10:44. 10:14:44 is when it starts to happen. I'm gonna show you how. This so-called insect, it flies around at 10:44. Then it ends up right here. If you're just tuning in, welcome. There is UFO activity. These are like motherships. These are light beings. They are connected in the spiritual realm to our spirit. There is a frequency connection. Otherwise, I would not have went there at that period of time like I did now and filmed that, recorded that for the past 7 hours and go to that particular time stamp. Wait till you see what happened. I also did this. This is so exciting. Took my breath away, too. Where am I going to flip this around? Watch it. Watch what happens. We're at the 10:14. It all happens in a matter of a couple of minutes. It appears like this. Look what it does. Look. No. See, this is real. There is activity that is occurring. This is some kind of a ship. You can see, look up here. And I apologize for using my phone, but then look at it. If you're just tuning in, this is of the light. This is not the dark. The dark ones. These are the light ones. This is the army of light. Is what this is. Look at this. Look at that. They cloak. Watch what happens. I'm dragging it slowly on the time thing. Watch it. There's another one that joins it. There's another one behind it. Okay, now if the other one is up here, you'll soon see some light going through here. You see it? See, watch this. Watch this, you all. Watch this. This is wild. You know that's not a raindrop. That's not an insect. That is someone wanting their self to be made known. That's what it is. Look at that. They want themselves to be made. They're disclosing themselves to us. You ain't gonna see this on the news. You're not.
This is definitely the most interesting bridge in the world. This right here is called the Overton Bridge, and it's in Scotland. Architecturally, it's kind of cool, but in terms of being haunted, it's kind of not cool, because this bridge actually has another name. So there have been over 600 reported cases of dogs jumping off this bridge, and a good portion of them have jumped to their death. There's actually been a couple cases where dogs have jumped off, lived, come back, and then jumped off again. Almost all the dogs have jumped from the same side, this side right here. Most of them have also been during daylight hours and with clear weather. Apparently, most of the dogs that jump are also dogs with like long snouts, and that's led people to think that there's some sort of smell that's making them do this, but no one really knows. So
that video comes from Thunderkeck. Now, because most of the dogs that have been jumping off have really long snouts, I thought at first they are picking up a certain scent and they're going to investigate, and as they investigate the scent, they jump off. But the fact that they jump off, then they go right back up on the bridge, only to jump right back off again, the same section, that is pretty weird.
In 1959, there were some scary and disturbing things that plagued a Girl Scout camp in Iowa. The camp was called Camp Little Cloud in Dubuque, Iowa. A counselor said that it was the first day of the third and final camping session, and around dusk they noticed a dark, shadowy figure by the craft tent. Initially, they thought this must be a lingering parent who had not yet left. They then went and found the camp director's husband and was told that all of the parents had left some time ago. Deputies were called, they arrived, they checked the area, but did not find anyone. Later that evening, everything went on as usual. The counselor helped put all of the girls to sleep before getting into their own tent with a fellow counselor. But as she was getting into her sleeping bag, she heard footsteps coming down the gravel road that ran right by the tents. She figured that this was the camp director's husband making sure that everyone had fallen asleep for the night and was safely in their tents. The next morning at breakfast, she brought this up to him, but he said that he had not been passing through. The sheriff's office was once again notified about this. That would sadly only be the first of 12 sleepless nights. Every night when the counselors got all of the girls in bed and then would go to bed themselves, they would instantly hear the sounds of footsteps coming down the gravel road, first passing their tents and then going near the tents of the girls. The girls then soon started hearing things around their own tents at night, but the counselors would try to assure them by saying that they were just small forest creatures coming and trying to smell for food. But deep down, they knew that it wasn't that. Every single time this would happen, deputies would come out to the campsite and look around, but each time they would come up empty-handed. But one night, towards the end of the camp, the deputies decided to stay the entire night, just in case anyone came around and to see if they could catch the guy. Once again, everyone went to bed, but the counselors began to hear footsteps. But accompanied by these footsteps was a loud, enraged scream. Because the deputies were nearby, they decided to leave their tents and go and let them know. However, when the deputies arrived, once again, there was no one. However, as they started walking back, they once again heard a loud, blood-curdling scream. This scream sounded like it came from a man. Deputies went down to where the sound came from, which was by a small pond, and there was no one found. But there was, however, a fully grown maple tree that had been snapped. It was about 7 to 9 feet in the ground, so it would have taken some force to break it. After this, deputies helped move all of the counselors and all of the girls to the main lodge where they would stay until the camp ended. Did they ever find the person who was walking by the tents or screaming that night? No. The counselor was later told that it had been a deaf and mute man who was just passing through, who must have made the sounds, must have walked by, but she didn't believe her because how could someone mute scream so loud?
That video comes from Crime with Kylie, and I wouldn't doubt one bit that there might be a big cover up there hiding what's ever located in that area, especially given the fact that that tree broke in half.
In 2007, a radio station held a water drinking contest, but who knew that it could end this badly? This was during the Wii craze, if you guys remember that, and the competition was called Hold Your Wii for a Wii, and the winner would get to take home the heavily sought after and sold out gaming console. The premise was that people had to drink as much water as possible without going to the bathroom, and every 15 minutes the contestants were handed another bottle of water. A 28-year-old mom named Jennifer Strange happily entered the competition so that she could win a Wii for her kids. Most of the contestants quit after the 5th bottle, and they were all talking about how their stomachs and heads hurt. Jennifer's belly started to swell, and the DJs were laughing about how she looked pregnant. People started calling into the radio station to warn them that drinking too much water could lead to serious complications, but the radio station's production team ignored these warnings. They did not relay these warnings to any of the contestants and instead started giving them bigger bottles of water.
My head hurts. They keep telling me that it's the water, that it'll tell my head to hurt and then it'll make me puke, but
Who told you that, the intern?
Yeah.
That's one of those over there?
Like, it hurts, but it makes you feel lightheaded, so I'm not sure if I'm just like...
This is what it feels like when you're drowning. There's a lot of water inside of you.
Oh, it hurts.
Reports vary, but it seems like Jennifer had around 2 gallons of water over the course of 3 hours before she threw up. She got second place and did not win the Wii, and she decided to drive home. On the way home, she called her coworker crying about how badly her head hurt, and the mom was later found dead in her home. It turns out that drinking too much water can lead to oversaturation in the bloodstream, which then plummets the body's sodium levels. Symptoms of water intoxication include headache, fatigue, and nausea, and it'll also make your brain swell. Jennifer's family, of course, sued the radio station for negligence. The radio station failed to research water intoxication, they failed to listen to people who called in, and they also never brought this competition up to their legal team. In the fallout, Intercom Sacramento was forced to pay $16 million to the family of Jennifer Strange.
It is just so crazy to me how all those people were not aware of the dangers of water poisoning and how drinking too much water can actually end your life. And yeah, while nobody forced that woman to drink all that water, that was just a stupid contest for that radio station to play.
In 2014, a search party stumbled upon a dilapidated building that was being used as a slaughterhouse for human beings. At the time, there were multiple motorcycle taxi drivers that had started to turn up missing around the Ibadan area of Nigeria. All of these men had seemingly disappeared without a trace. Because of these disappearances, rumors of abduction by a group of occultists for the purpose of ritualistic sacrifice began to spread among the locals in the area. Even though there were no suspicions of foul play in each of these missing persons cases, there were reports of strange people in the bushes of the area around the same time that these people vanished. This caused even more speculation and rumors to spread. So the colleagues of these missing taxi drivers took matters into their own hands out of fear for their own safety. They all rallied together to form an impromptu search party after word of another missing taxi driver got out. On March 22nd, this group of people arrived at the Soka Forest, otherwise known as the Ibadan Forest, where they discovered a dilapidated building. Inside of this building, they found over 20 human beings shackled and severely malnourished. Alongside them were dozens of decomposing bodies with shackles still around their ankles. Human remains were scattered throughout the building, and according to the survivors, the deceased had reportedly been butchered on butcher blocks. Some of the remains were still chained to the slabs. There was also a room filled with personal belongings presumed to belong to the victims, with items like wallets, IDs, jewelries, even children's toys. Once authorities arrived, the search progressed, and it was discovered that on top of the corpses that they found inside of the building, they were also scattered throughout the forest itself. They were hidden in bushes, stowed away in tree trunks, stuffed inside of caves, and buried in shallow graves. All of these bodies were found in different states of decomposition. Some of them were missing limbs, internal organs, some of them were even missing their heads. So this further pushed this idea that these humans were being used in some sort of ritualistic practice. Once the search was complete, it was revealed that the bodies of of 20 deceased victims were uncovered. But there were also reports of hundreds of human skulls found throughout the area, and it's still unclear if those identities have ever been revealed. The victims recovered that were still alive were described as being living skeletons. They were surrounded by flies and had maggots eating at their flesh. When they were rescued and questioned about what had happened to them, they all told stories about being kidnapped, kept in chains, tortured, and starved. A lot of them said they were only fed once per week. And for what purpose, they didn't know. These people had no idea why they were there, and on top of that, most of them couldn't even recall what their captors looked like. But the interesting part is that some of them claimed that their abductors looked like government officials. And this left a lot of people speculating that Nigerian officials in high places were using these victims for ritualistic purposes to help further their roles in power. What added more fuel to the fire is that when protesters rallied to get answers for the victims of this horrific operation, they were met with a lot of resistance. At one point, security guards that were guarding this dilapidated building had even shot live rounds into the crowd, striking a woman who later passed away at the hospital. According to an article by The Telegraph, the security officers that were in charge of keeping the crowd under control were quoted saying that this site was not a den of kidnappers, but instead a, quote, place where the destitute were being rehabilitated. Authorities would eventually make arrests in connection to what was uncovered at the Ibadan forest, including suspects who were security guards and policemen. But to this day, nobody has ever been charged.
That video came from Oddities on Elm Street, and it's truly cases like that that really keep me up at night, because I'm sure something like this is happening with multiple governments around the world, not just one. Movies like Hostel are just truth in plain sight. But in any case, thank you so much for watching. If you like this channel and you want to see more, please subscribe. If you're already subscribed, please like, as any engagement does help the channel grow. Once again, thank you so much for your support.